to you, this might be a bit rough. I should have known, I should have seen. That look in your eyes is not letting me in. I can't believe this body's fine. I'm outside. It doesn't make any sense. This was not how I saw the end. But I keep on breathing. Heart is beating. I'm waiting for the eclipse and the consequences of it. Why do we keep falling down? When it's always the affected ground. We got time to make this right. But it's all we keep falling down. Do you remember our first touch? When I look at you now, an adrenaline rush. We're always looking for something more. We're closer to the edge than ever before. I can't believe this body's fine.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I am your host, Tony, here with a special live stream. We do this from time to time. We like to do the Cruise News live stream. And, of course, my favorite person to do the Cruise News live stream with is my buddy, Don Terrace. I'm going to go ahead and bring Don on. We're going to talk about our 2022 cruise predictions. And, of course, we'll be answering all of your questions. But first, everybody help me in welcoming in our guest tonight, my friend and yours, Don Terrace. What's going on, Don?
Hey, Tony. Hello, Loca fam. How's everyone doing?
Happy day after Christmas, Don.
Yeah. Did you do any Boxing Day stuff today or anything?
We don't have Boxing Day down here, so I'm not really sure. What does Boxing Day celebrate in Canada?
It's like Black Friday.
Okay, yeah. No, no.
Same
I didn't do any shopping. Yeah, I didn't do any shopping. I know my kids went out and spent some of their Christmas money, but other than that, I've been hanging around the house.
I've been cleaning up the aftermath.
It sounds like you've had a couple nice holiday parties, so that's
Yep.
always cool.
Two
All right,
Christmas dinners.
Christmas dinners. So we've had we've had the big holiday. We do have New Year's Eve and New Year's coming up, but it's about time to start cruising again. Let's talk about cruising in 2022. Now, of course, you and I, we track along with the cruise news on a daily basis. And so first and foremost, the way the stream's going to work tonight is we'll talk a little bit about 2022 predictions, but we are happy to answer some questions. I'm going to try to give you a little more volume there, Don. I see some people are asking for more. I'm almost maxed out, though, on our volume. So let me kick it up and see if we can get some more volume for Don. But yes, 2022, do you have any general predictions for 2022, or do you think they're more specific based on protocol and all that kind of stuff?
Unfortunately, the protocols that have just kicked in, I think, are going to stay a little longer than we were hoping. All because of just the Omicron right now, the panic everywhere. Although by all accounts, it's actually probably more good news than bad news, this strain, than the Delta variant. But I think they're going to keep those protocols in place. And places like the Caribbean that don't have huge medical facilities, you can understand their cautiousness. And that's the big thing right now. Will they let us into their countries?
No, that's a good point. You know, I see sometimes you see a little bit of pushback, like what are these islands doing? You got to realize, and especially if you've never visited some of these islands, they do have medical care, medical facilities there, but it's not like, it's not like most, cities here. And so it's, I could see them erring on the side of caution. What do you think? So, the big protocol that they get some pushback about right now is a vaccine requirement. I personally feel like most international travel is going to have a COVID vaccine requirement for quite a while. Do you see that being all of 2022, or do you think like I try to figure out which protocols will come off first. To me, I think the last protocol that will come off would be a vaccine requirement. What's your take on where we're at when it comes to requiring vaccine for cruising?
I think it's going to be 3 doses of vaccine will be the new norm, right? Fully
Good point.
vaccinated will now be 3, just because that's in all the news right now. If you go to the UK, where they're having huge outbreak right now, they're saying people with 2 doses get it this much, but people with 3 doses only get it this much, kind of thing. I think that's going to be the push, and I think the cruise lines are going to have to follow suit. They're not going to have a whole lot of choice. I think Costa, Cunard already have said, starting now, 3 doses is fully vaccinated. So
that's interesting because, depending when you got, the booster's going to have some sort of time component also, so like a 2-week deal. And so that's interesting as people start to approach cruising in 2022. The major cruise lines here have not announced the requirement for a booster, but be mindful of it, because if they do, you might find yourself in a time crunch where you don't have enough time to get your booster shot before your cruise. So that's interesting.
Now, the good news is right now they're saying that if you get a booster, you're counted as fully inoculated after 7 days. So it's not a 2-3 week period to wait. It's 7 days, so it's a little helpful that way.
Yeah, check the cruise line though, because I believe those Cunard regulations were like a 14-day, unless that's changed. So they could. I would just say be cautious if you're coming up on a cruise and they're going to require you for be a booster, because I think Cunard had like a 14-day one, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah,
so
and make
be careful.
Sure whatever cruise line you're booking, they have protocols in place if you catch it on the ship. Because a lot of people on Cunard got caught because they didn't have the insurance, and Cunard said, "Well, talk to your insurance."
Yeah, so that's I think it's worthy saying that. I've said that even before the pandemic. Sometimes things happen on a cruise ship that if you don't have insurance, it is life altering, like financially life altering, like if you have to get medevac or something like that. And so I know a lot of people like to roll the dice. Look, I've never had to use the insurance before. I'm not going to get the insurance. But nothing's a problem until it's a problem. So I will continue, and I'm assuming you would too. I would continue to recommend anytime you go cruising. To me, it's just
not worth the gamble.
Make sure that you've got cruise insurance. Let me catch a couple of these super chats. There were a couple super chats before the show started. First Sergeant Richard was one of them, and then Jeeps for Life. Thank you guys for the super chat. We sure do appreciate it. Thanks everybody for showing up out here tonight. I hope you're having a good day after Thanksgiving. Don and I, we hadn't had a chance. Well, we talked last week on Don's channel, and but we've been trying to be a little more consistent while we're at home, bringing you guys some cruise news and answering your cruise news questions. Certainly a lot of people here tonight. Thank you guys. If you're just getting in, it's a great time to hit the like button. Help signal to YouTube that we got a live stream going on here and that the quality content is in your face. So please consider hit that like button. Super chat, Pam Lamsky. Thank you so much for a super chat. Sent a super chat when we were on Don's channel, and since we are there too, and since we are Pam's 2 favorite cruise people, super chat for us too. Boy, I butchered the reading of that. Thank you so much, Pam. We do appreciate it. And Brian H., thank you for the super chat. No questions. Just thanks for keeping us informed and laughing through the pandemic. Hope to catch you both on a cruise in 2022. Very kind. Thank you for supporting the creativity. Very generous. Let's bring out the 3rd member of our crew tonight, Harry Larry Loca Lucha.
Super chat.
What many of you don't know, that's actually Don. Don's the body for Harry
in my
Larry.
better days. In my thinner days.
I don't know. I mean,
Although
all right.
I did buy a treadmill, Tony. I bought a treadmill.
I saw some pictures of you assembling a treadmill. So I didn't wear my. So here's. I'll give you a little behind the scenes. I didn't wear my glasses in the video today because I shaved off my full beard, and so I was wanting to see whether people would be confused that I didn't have my glasses on or that I didn't shave my beard. But look how fat my face is, Don. Look how fat my face is. So I'm getting ready to start again, right? It's been probably 8 months since I've made an active effort to lose some weight, and so I shaved my face off so I could see how fat my face was. So it's time, right? Because we've signed up for that cruise in Greece. If you guys don't know this, Don and I and the lovely Jenny will be heading over to Rome in July to get on a cruise ship to go, I think, to 9 different spots in Greece. And everything that I understand is that's a fairly physically demanding cruise. That there's a lot of walking, there's a lot of stairs, there's a lot of things to see, and dagnabbit. Yeah, if I'm gonna fly all the way over there and go to Greece, I cannot be just struggling to walk around. So a new day has dawned, and you got the treadmill, and we're getting ready to go to Weight Watchers, and we joined the gym. So we're getting there. 149 days or 148 days, something like that. So it's exciting.
Seems
times.
like a long time, but it's not.
It'll come quick
before you know it.
And you mentioned as we were doing the pre-show that you've got a cruise booked every month starting in February. Or do you want to share some of the highlights?
Sure. February, I'm doing the Love Boat cruise with the Love Boat cast on the Majestic Princess out of LA. Then in March, I'm going on the Allure with my two nephews. That's one of them's first cruise, so it's a boys' trip. In April, we have our Panama Canal cruise that goes from April into May. In
Nice.
June, I have the back-to-back Alaska cruises, group cruises as well in June. In July, I think I'm back in Florida, and I'm also doing Rome. And then October right now, I have the Transatlantic on the Holland America so far scheduled. And I know there's more in between, but I can't break them yet. So until I lock them down.
Those are some great highlights, though. I can't wait to track along with your cruising this year. Hopefully, we cross paths on some of that. We'll be together for the Rome thing, and then there's a couple of your group cruises that are pretty tempting. I've got some pretty big chunks in our calendar. We haven't really filled it out yet. We have a few group cruises this year, but if you want to cruise with Don, you can sign up for his group cruises through your regular Don email, right? Like that's the best way to get in the queue. What's that email?
Just dterrace@travelonly.com.
Yeah, so if you want to cruise with Don, which I've never been on Don's group cruise, but I've met people that have been on Don's group cruise, and they attest that it's a great time, and I've cruised with Don. It's a great time, so make sure you check that out. Wendy Burns, thank you so much for the super chat. Very kind. And Todd Yu, thank you for the super sticker with the cyborg hippopotamus. I don't know where they come up with these ideas for the super sticker, but I like them. Thank you so much for the super chat. All right, so again, if you have any questions out there, type question in capital letters, and we'll try to answer some of your cruise news questions. I guess the biggest thing popping off in the cruise news, Don, are multiple ships being turned away at cruise ports. Maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5 right now, but it still means that 83 cruises are cruising without being stopped at the cruise port. What's your feeling? This is a short-term prediction. What's your feeling for the next couple of weeks? Do you think we will see more and more cruise ships turned away with 20 cases now that Omicron? Let's break it down like this. You and I have been tracking this the whole way, and cruise ships have had COVID on them since June, July, since they started back, right? And I would assume those numbers aren't published. We don't know exactly how many cases, but the CDC, cruise lines working together, I would assume that 20 is probably not an abnormal number, but now we see 20 cases being enough to turn someone away from the port. Do you think it's just Omicron? Do you think it's just because there's more visibility in the media of these cases? Do you think it's a mix of both? And how do you think it's going to affect cruising for the next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks, next month? Do you think we're in for more of these turnaways? Do you think it will ever end up in cruise cancellation? Or do you think it's just an uprising in the media coverage that's causing challenges right now?
To be honest, I think it's a media thing right now. If you look at, I don't know if it's the same thing in the United States. Is the government shut down for holidays right now in the United States? The Senate
We're not
and all
shut
that?
down. So the thing is, there's some places in the there's some places in the country that have increased their protocols again. So mask mandates, those kind of thing. But there's no ban on travel from state to state or anything like that. It's just not something that we've seen. And again, yesterday, my brother wanted to go to a beach near here, about an hour, called Clearwater Beach. We went there, and there were hundreds of people on the beach. Really no protocols at all. No masking, no social distancing. I mean, it's wide open down here in Florida. So we're we're just taking it as we come, and Florida's
we're
reporting
the complete opposite here in Ottawa, Canada. We're not even allowed to go on hiking trails. You have a maximum on a hiking trail. Try and figure out how you're going to do this, of 25 people outdoors on a hiking trail.
So somehow you would have to know at the beginning of the trail
It's
how
a
many people
10-mile
are
hiking trail. How are you going to figure that out?
Yeah.
you're allowed to go to dinner at 50% capacity, and you can take your mask off and have dinner, but you can't go to a movie and have a popcorn because somehow that's different. You know, like weird things like that here in Canada, and it's all just in case. Well, just in case, and that's because right now the numbers don't coincide with all the restrictions.
Right.
Our cases have gone up literally 45 times as high as they were 7 weeks ago. 45 times more cases every day right now. We still only have 8 people in our hospital, nobody in ICU, in a city of over 1.5 million people.
Yeah. So let me silver.
It's media right now.
It is media. I'm going to silver lining that a little bit. You know, it's still early on in the Omicron run, but it does seem like more and more health professionals, scientists out there are saying that Omicron is showing to be more transmissible, more contagious, breaking through vaccines, more frequently, more breakthrough cases, but less severe. And so that would line up with what you're saying there, that cases are up 45%, but hospitalizations, and then on the tail end of that, that would also mean that probably fatalities, deaths are not up as,
way
proportionately. Down. So as frustrating as it is, as stressful as it's causing the cruise business right now, and neither one of us are doctors, but it does look like it could be signaling good days ahead. That as this becomes, as Omicron becomes the dominant variant, we may end up in a situation where people aren't getting sick as severely, which could be good. Again, too early to call that, but it does seem like the anecdotal evidence, a lot of the stories that we're hearing, like there was somebody in the comments yesterday that said, hey, I'm unvaccinated, but my buddy who's vaccinated got the thing, he gave me the thing, and neither one of us are sick. We're not in the hospital, we're not, so... That's a better story, because during the time of Delta, you would hear people saying, I got the Delta and I'm going to the hospital and this is not good. So hopefully it means better days. But again, I agree with you. I believe that some of the pushback that we're seeing on cruising right now is because of the media. And to me, and it could be wrong, because I know you and I have different opinions on the CDC, and me and a lot of people in the world have different opinions on the CDC. But... at the end of the day, they're still the gate puller. They're still going to pull the lever and shut down cruising if they think it's out of hand. And if the hype, or if the conspiracy that everybody likes to throw around out there, that the CDC is just waiting for a moment to shut down cruising, well, it seems like the many moments have passed, and this would be another moment. This would be another moment where it would pass. And so I'm going to continue to argue that they're working with the cruise lines, and whatever thresholds that we're hitting right now with cases, they're not shutting down cruising. So either they're working some other weird long conspiracy to somehow end around shut down cruising, but this would be a good time to do it if that was their end game. But it's not happening. So to me, when the CDC shuts down cruising, then I feel like that's when we should be worried as cruisers. But again, that may be too naive on my part. You and I both advocate everybody needs to be safe out there. You need to make your own decisions. You or I can't decide for somebody whether or not it's safe enough to go on a cruise ship. But when I'm making that decision, when I'm doing that risk analysis for myself, I am looking at, okay, I know that the cruise lines are reporting every day to the CDC. The CDC knows exactly how many cases are on cruise ships. And if they're not shutting it down, then I feel like they're saying that it's inside an acceptable tolerance. So, it's crazy, but go ahead.
Well, even President Biden just came out this week, just before Christmas, and said, we're not going back to March. We're not doing that. The vaccines are there. If you want to take them, take them. Get your vaccine. Don't get your vaccine. But if you don't get your vaccine, you end up in hospital. Don't blame anybody but yourself. If you go on a cruise and you catch COVID, don't blame anybody but yourself. And that's true. Yeah. If I go on a cruise and I catch COVID, it's on me. It's not on the government. I chose to do it. And if I choose not to get vaccinated and I get sick, I chose to do it. And I think we're at that point now in the world that people are going, let's see what happens now, right? Everyone's almost to that point of, I've had enough. Let's just open up and see where the cards fall.
Yeah, and it's tough. Obviously, you got to reiterate it because people out there, they can't connect the dots. Obviously, we don't want to see anybody get sick and die from COVID
No.
at the same time. And so, but you got to be realistic to track along with what's going on in the world. Scott Brady, thank you so much for the super sticker. It's a lovely lemon hugging a lime. That's the kind of peace and unity we want to see in the world. If we could substitute the lemon and the lime for warring factions of ideas and policies, we'd all be better people. So Scott Brady, thank you so much for the super chat. And Chris, thank you so much for the super chat. Happy 20 deuce. Much appreciated. All right, I'm looking for questions. Question. Brian H., we get this every time. Do Don and I split the super chats? Not right now, so we're doing these on our individual channels. So whatever you give to Don over on his channel, Don keeps that for himself. Whatever you give to me over here, I keep for myself. We are working toward, one of our goals in 2022 is to have a channel together, as it were. A podcast and a channel together, a collaboration of epic, monumentous togetherness. And when that becomes the thing, then Don and I will be in business together. And whenever you give a super chat over there, it'll be for both of us. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be epic. When is the Greek cruise asked? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, people keep asking that even when you and I go on, say, Emma's channel or Morgan comes on. We're all supporting each other. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And we have no qualms about how much super chat this person made compared to this person. We don't care. We're happy to do it. We really enjoy talking to each other. So
yeah, that's a pretty good rule of thumb across all channels. I can't speak for every channel, obviously, but the kind of the rule of thumb is it's like if you go to somebody else's if they're hosting the show, then we're there to support the show, just like Don said. So support that show, give them super chats. We were happy to be there, and really, so since Don's not getting any of the money, how about that? Make sure you go to Don's channel and subscribe to him. That will help him out. Watch some of his videos. That's a good way to support Don. Or when I'm on Don's channel, go give him a super chat, and then he won't give me any of it. And you can
although,
laugh at that too.
you know, Tony, I have to bring this up because I was watching you on Emma's channel.
Yes.
The last time you were on, and the last time you're on, you go, you know, Emma likes to divide her channel up down below by how many views down below, and you said, I got to get ahead of Don. Don's ahead of me, and I got to get ahead of Don.
Didn't work.
I hate to disappoint you, but
it didn't work.
I'm now 1 and 2.
Yeah, it didn't work.
I did it twice.
I got no swagger. I'm going to quit going on Emma's show. If I can't get into first or second place, I would never do that to Emma. But man, Don, you pulled
I'm hoping
the crowd
she
up.
comes in July too with us, right? I asked her to come, but I think she's on a river cruise or something. But she's checking it out to see if she can make it.
I also told Morgan O'Brien when I met him last week that we were doing that cruise, so that would be cool if he would come along. A good question, Brian. Thank you so much. Roberta Allen, question: when is your Greek cruise? We embark on July the 11th. So I assume we'll go to Rome a couple days before that because I'd like to do some stuff in Rome, and then we will be off to. I looked at the ports. I don't know all of them, but we're going to go to Piraeus, which is Athens, and then what's the blue?
Olympia.
Yeah. So it's going to be great. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Nautical Nurse Nancy, what's up? Question: any predictions for the Hawaiian cruise, January the 9th, 2022? There's a little rumbling, bumbling, stirring going on in Hawaii, but what I've heard is opposition to tourism. So I would be surprised, but it's not canceled yet. But man, that's pretty close for them to be still going. Should we let people come here or not? What do you think, Don? You think that one's good to go, or do you think that one might get cancellated?
I wish I could say it's going to go, but I haven't heard any positive things out of Hawaii lately. Kind of like Australia. Haven't heard positive things out of Australia as far as cruising startups. So unfortunately, I'm thinking we're looking at March now, if any time soon.
That's a bummer. Yeah, I would like to go to Hawaii. Have you ever been to Hawaii? You've been to Hawaii, haven't you?
I've been to Hawaii. It's been a long time. My last cruise that was canceled right before, as the pandemic hit, was Hawaii and all the islands up into Tahiti and all that stuff. So it was like a 35-day cruise, all canceled.
Question from PZ: what's the passenger capacity limit for Celebrity, Royal, etc. right now? Don, you have a sense of this? What you feeling?
Yeah, Royal is dropping back down to 50%. And I imagine Celebrity is going to follow suit right along with that. They were up to 65 and climbing. But with the recent outbreaks and the big headlines, they've cut back. And I think that's because, we got 11 cases on board compared to we got 50 cases on board is a much better headline for them right now. Because a lot of people have been canceling.
Yeah, that's what we've seen over here too. A lot of cancellations. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss out anybody here. Maureen Arscott, thank you so much for the super chat. Barb Thompson, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for everything. We appreciate that. Olivia Rankin, what's up? Oh, how are you doing? Have you and Jenny started thinking of group cruises for 2023 yet? The only one we have is the Vloggers group cruise that Don and I will both be on in January of 2023. We haven't planned beyond that yet. Where you want to go, Oh? Send us a message. Let's Go Travel Tips. Thank you for the super chat. Seeking a special call out from the Masters of Cruise News. Thank you both for your inspiration. We send our best wishes for the new years. Well, thank you. That's a kind compliment that you're laying on Don and I. And a big shout out to you. Let's Go Travel Tips. Go check them out. Thank you for the super chat. Let me hit the super chat button.
Super chat.
Dodie Sweeney, Tony, I have a cruise in September of 2022. Should I be worried? I would not worry for September 2022 yet. What we've seen is the ebb and flow. So we had a beautiful cruise restart in June, July. It was like heaven. It was like we were back, baby. And then we saw the rise of Delta, and that dampened us down a little bit. We saw some more masking and stuff come in, and then we got used to that, and it became pretty good. I mean, I've had good times on all my cruises, and then we've seen adjustments again with Omicron. So I think all that to be said is there's really no certainty. But the thing that hasn't happened in all of that is cruises haven't shut down. And so I feel good about September the 2022, but it's really too early to worry for sure. What do you think, Don? I think we might be in better shape.
It's more about what restrictions will be in place by then, more than will cruises be canceled, I think.
Yeah.
They still brought in new ships, started just last week. So they're not slowing down. They're still bringing ships online, so.
And that's going to continue. There's a plan every month to bring on more and more. We're getting close to 100 ships online for U.S. cruising. This is the path back to profitability for the cruise ships, is to get the whole fleet going. And I don't think they're going to be derailed from that too heavily. Del Brownlee asked, and this is a good question for you, Don, does Princess provide PCR testing at the end of cruises? I'm from Vancouver doing the Lido cruise.
Yes, as of right now, they are still providing tests. And it's still complimentary to fly back. What you do is normally, lately, the cruises I've been on, you get it in the port and you test in the port, you start leaving, and you get it within an hour, an email of your results.
There you go. Good question. Pamela Byers, what's the best mask for cruising? I just read a couple articles today about the changing strategy toward masking. They're saying that cloth mask are basically, the experts now are basically saying those are not what you want at this point, especially with Omicron. Regular surgical masks that are like triple weaved or whatever, those are good. But like if you want to be in the best position, have that K95 mask or the N95, whatever the knockoff. But those are what they're recommending right now. If you go on a cruise ship and you look at what the crew members are wearing, which is a good indicator of what probably a good mask to have, they're all that N95 mask. So a lot of cool, blingy, nice looking cloth masks, but even the experts are starting to acquiesce and say, okay, they're really not helping us out, especially with Omicron. So I've been wearing those black surgical masks. I kind of like those, but I might move over to the N95 once I get back on a ship.
Yeah, I like the N95 because they're lighter. They're really light on your face if you have to wear them all day. I like that. I did see a question on there I want to answer. It's on what do I think about Canada opening up in February for cruises. As of right now, they're still on track to do that. I haven't heard anybody saying that we shouldn't reopen the cruise ports or anything like that. But it will be vaccinated passengers only, and most likely by then, 3 doses.
The booster.
Just a heads up.
I think if we really want to make a prediction, I bet you that's the next big thing. More so than cruises being canceled, I think the next big thing you're going to see is major cruise lines requiring the booster. I think that's what's going to happen. And the interesting thing out there, and I know people are probably keeping up with it. I'm not trying to be prescriptive, but the idea is that if you got your vaccine shots a long time ago, if you're getting to 6 months, 8 months, this is the time to get the booster, because they're noticing that the efficacy, the goodness of the vaccine wanes over time, and that was the whole point of the booster. So if you just got vaccinated a couple of weeks ago and it's not required, then you're not necessarily needing the booster, but it's more like a 6 month, 8 month thing. But To Don's point, if the cruise lines start requiring it, then it won't really matter how long ago or short ago you got it. You're going to have to get it. Let's see. A question: what insurance from Mary? What insurance carriers have COVID insurance? You know, I use Allianz for a lot, and they have a COVID rider in there. That's what you want to do. But the major players in cruise insurance, like I think Nationwide's a big one, Allianz.
Manulife just started it again, so they have cruise COVID insurance as well.
Yeah,
And
and
basically
most of
the
them
cruise
do.
lines. The cruise
Yes.
lines insurance are going to cover you if you take the cruise lines insurance, one way or the other. But also check the protocols of every line you're booking with. What happens if you test positive before the cruise? What happens if you test on the cruise? Because some of them don't pay nothing, but most of them will cover all the charges. So, but it can be devastating if you found out, hey, I got to quarantine in a hotel in New York for 10 days and I have to pay for that. That's not a cheap bill.
Yeah, definitely. The a good point there, and this is a good question about what we think will happen in 2022 and currently. Laura asked, "Do you think prices will drop because of Omicron? We've seen some low prices lately. Do you think that will continue to trend as they bring more cruise ships on, or do you think we're going to see an increase of price as we move into 2022?"
I think prices are going to continue to drop as long as cancellations keep dropping, keep coming out right now. People,
Yeah.
my Love Boat cruise dropped. I could have saved $120, but it's paid off, and it's a travel agent rate, and so I can't redo it without paying a penalty, which is 3 times higher than what I'd saved. So it's not worth it. But I am seeing like $80 here, $60 there. I'm seeing that on cruises upcoming.
Yeah.
So, and if people keep dropping their short cruises, look at Royal stopped booking for 2 weeks, right? They're not even
Yeah.
taking any new customers for 2 weeks. So, yeah. But in the long run, I don't think they're going to change dramatically unless we really frighten off travelers. But I haven't seen that happen yet.
And if we track along with what's happened with the restart so far, so again, when cruising started back up in June and July, and there was a lot of cruising with no masks, there was a lot of maskless cruising options. You really saw demand go up, and as demand increased, you saw pricing go up. But then as Delta took a hold and there were more protocols, the big one that happened with Delta was the pre-cruise testing, right? We were at a place when we first started where we didn't have to do the pre-cruise testing, and then you saw more cancellations. You saw prices ebb down. It's hard to speculate, right? The cool thing is you can put a deposit on a cruise and pay it off over time. So as you start to see things in the world where if Omicron really becomes the path to where it's not as big a deal anymore, and then on the tail of that, when protocols like masking go away, or if you start to hear announcements that the pre-cruise test goes away, you will see demand shoot up. This is my prediction. Yeah. You will see demand shoot up, and as demand shoots up, prices will shoot up. So you want to be able to time it to where you're getting your cruises booked before that spike. So you got to pay some attention, but I think there's going to be opportunities for a while to get some inexpensive cruises, but there will be a tipping point where things start to normalize, and they will charge more if they can. If there's more demand than you have berths, they will charge more.
Here's a great example. I had somebody text me last week. He said somebody told them that they're an idiot for booking so far ahead on their cruise because it's better to get last minute deals right away. Well, first of all, you can get last minute deals possibly, but you don't get to choose a very good cabin. Usually the good cabins are gone. But for instance, Panama Canal, since we booked it for the group, our prices on the group have doubled since then.
Wow.
Literally doubled the cost of the cruise. So yeah, it's not a guaranteed, it's not anything. Book early, get a refundable deposit, and then if the prices change and you have to cancel and rebook, go ahead and do it. That's how you save your money.
That's crazy. Paul Schaefer, how many cases of the flu does the average cruise have on it at any one time? They don't track the flu on the cruise. The big thing that they're worried about on the cruise right now is COVID, I think because of the pandemic. And then they also track GI. So there's a plan in place to track gastrointestinal norovirus. but they don't really track the flu on the cruise ship. Question: Royal has mandated masks in indoor locations, even for vax cruisers. Why do we think that Celebrity does not have that same thing? Pam L asked that. Don, any insight? Why do you think that the less masking on Celebrity?
When I was on Celebrity for the opening of the Apex, a lot of people were asking, how come Royal has different policies than Celebrity? And they said, because we're our own cruise line, we have our own governing body, we look at our ships, we look at what we're doing, and we choose what we feel is best for us. And I think right now, don't forget, they also don't have very many kids on board.
Right.
That's where you're getting the unvaccinated is from the children right now in a lot of the cases, right? So they feel that adults, all vaccinated, all tested before getting on board, are pretty good choice. They're not going to have a lot of cases. And so far, you've seen there haven't been a lot of cases on Celebrity cruises. There's been some, like every other cruise, but you haven't heard a breakout too much. You've heard Norwegian, you've heard Carnival, you've heard Royal. Haven't heard it yet on a Celebrity cruise, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you remember how Royal started up, under the conditional sell order, there's two paths to restart. If you commit to 95% vaccinated passengers and 98% or 95% vaccinated crew, I think it ended up being you didn't have to do a test sailing. Royal decided not to go to 95%. Now, I know they're probably at 95% on some of their sailings, but they're not required to do that. So if you look at Celebrity and you look at Royal, they took two different paths to restart. And so I think Celebrity probably, since they're holding a higher vaccination rate, probably feels, like you said, more comfortable, especially like you said, with the not as many kids, that kind of thing. Barbara P. Confirms that there will be a lot of physical activity on our Greek cruise, so we got to do that. Question for an Alaska cruise: would you choose Ovation of the Seas, the Solstice, Bliss, or Encore? I'm not from, Ovation. We know Ovation class a little bit of those Royal ships, but I don't know Solstice. But we kind of know Bliss and Encore. What do you think of those four ships, Don? Don said he'd choose a princess ship.
For. Encore and Bliss are basically the same ship, same design, same amount of deck space. They don't have a lot of upper deck space, but they have a lot of viewing areas on those ships. Solstice class has a much more open deck space up top because they don't have a lot of slides and bumper cars and stuff like that. And the other ship was the
Ovation, Bliss, or Solstice. Yeah.
And the Ovation again has more things on. Out of those, depends. Do you want an upper category, like Celebrities would be the upper category of those ships? Norwegian and Royal would be very close to each other. Entertainment-wise, Ovation has it a lot. But if you're looking for like good solid food, good solid dining, the Celebrity cruise does sound really, really nice. I kind of been a fan of Celebrity lately. They're kind of bringing me over. But let's be fair, I did stay in a grand suite and I had a really good experience. So that might be skewing my opinion a little bit. But let me get back in a balcony and I'll let you know. But you know what? Any of those ships are actually a really good choice because they all have good food. They all have good dining and lots to do on board if you happen to get really, really cold weather. But Alaska, it's all about Alaska. It's not necessarily about the ship. So I don't think you have a bad choice in them.
I agree.
Look at the itineraries. Where are they going?
Dominic, yeah. Oh, the other thing out of those ships, do you want to see Glacier Bay or not? Royal Caribbean does not go to Glacier Bay, and so I don't know if Celebrity does or not, but the Bliss and the Encore would be going to Glacier Bay for the viewing. Question from Dominic, going on the Mardi Gras March the 19th, what hotel would you recommend? So my favorite hotels in Port Canaveral are the Country Inn and Suites, and then the Radisson Resort at the port. Fairly equally reasonably priced, easy to get to the cruise ship. They'll let you park your car there for a fee. But those are the big ones there in Port Canaveral. But there's a lot of hotels there, even down into Cocoa Beach. But we stay at Country Inn and Suites a lot, and it's really easy. Do you have a favorite? Do you go out of Canaveral much? I feel like you go out of Lauderdale more than you go out of Canaveral.
Lauderdale and Miami are the big headquarters, right, for most. I don't do a lot of Carnival, which have more down in Canaveral, and Disney. Although I really want to get on a Disney ship again. It's been a long, long time, but it's super, super pricey right
Exactly.
now. I did see also a question. Somebody was asking about where Canadians can get a PCR test in Fort Lauderdale. Dock Laboratories on 17th Street, right beside the cruise port. They have RT PCR tests, or if you need an antigen test, they can do it. It's a walk-in clinic. It's right across the street from the Embassy Suite Hotel and the Holiday Inn in that area. Just walk across the street, stand in line, you're in and out, you have your test results in an hour, or an antigen test, you have it in 15 minutes.
Mm.
That's been my go-to. My last cruise I was on, when I was getting ready to go meet Alicia to go on the Allure, I walked outside and everybody around me who was getting tested positive. Every single person around me. So they had goofed up something. There's no possible way that 20 people had COVID all randomly around me at the same time. So I left, went over to the dock place. In 15 minutes, I had my test, and I was, you got to pay for it, but they do a really good job there. They're really quick, so that's a good spot.
There you go. My chat jumped to the bottom, so if you guys have questions, pop them back in there. Let's see. Question for Don: have you been to Icy Strait Point in Alaska, and did you like it? From Kevin.
I always like Alaska. I've been all over Alaska. The last time was my 22nd and 23rd time because
Oh,
I did
wow.
back to back. And I'm scheduled again next year for 2 cruises to Alaska. So as you can tell, I like Alaska. Icy Strait Point's a lot of fun. And it's not the normal. Yeah, every place in Alaska is a little different. So yeah, just see what excursions you got nearby as well, and the viewing areas through there are spectacular. You also got to watch some of the cruise lines. They schedule some, like they sell you on, hey, we're going through the inside passage here. Yeah, but your first 6 hours, 7 hours of inside passage is at night, so you don't see anything.
You don't see much of it, yeah.
So you might be in the inside passage, and then the other cruise isn't until the morning, but you're not really missing anything going around it because it's nighttime anyway. So yeah, you got to pay a lot of attention when you're booking Alaska.
Nice. Question from Robert Patton. Doing back-to-back out of Galveston on RCL, how did they do the 48-hour testing? My understanding is, and I don't know that I've seen it on Royal, but I know that Carnival, and you've done some back-to-back, Don, most of the time when you're doing a back-to-back, they're going to give you a test. I mean, that's part of the process.
Yeah.
We had some friends that cruised. Yeah, they cruised on Carnival, and of course, the last day before their cruise was over, they were tested so that they could do the back-to-back. I can't imagine them not testing you for the back-to-back. Are you hearing any lines not testing for the back-to-back?
Not when you're staying on the same ship. They're all doing the test to keep you on board, from what I've heard. It doesn't make sense to send you off the ship and hope you get back in time.
Hope you get back. That would be crazy.
Yeah, no. Now, some of them are canceling. Like, it was great for me. I was all surprised. We were going from Allure in Fort Lauderdale to the Summit in Miami. And so I had all the arrangements for travel. I had all the arrangements to go get a test if I needed. And they said, oh, no, we're going to test you on the ship. And then we have a shuttle directly from here going to the cruise. I'm going, well, technically they're 2 different cruise lines, right? But it was all included, no extra. And I was really surprised by that. So kudos to them for that little plug.
Very cool. Nikki W. asks, question for cruises turned away at the ports, are ship-sponsored shore excursions being refunded? So yeah, if you bought your shore excursion through the cruise ship, you're going to get that money back.
Yeah, if you paid for it outside, you're out of luck.
Yeah, so that's probably a good thing to bring forth to people. You know, a lot of people do like to book third-party excursions. Make sure you know the cancellation policy if for some reason you can't show up there. Or is there an easy path to get your money back or not? So it's that could be a risky proposition at this point to book third party. But I know it's a lot cheaper than the cruise line. But yeah, you want to make sure that you can get your money back if they can't go there.
Yeah, I'm at that point now where right now the way things are is saving $20 on a shore excursion worth the risk, and I don't know if it is right now.
Right.
I'd rather have, guarantee my money, guarantee getting back to the ship, guarantee it, that kind of stuff. So
Let's see. Will
I think I
Koningsdam?
also saw somebody asking from Nova Scotia. They were asking me if they should book in 2022 or should they wait for 2023. It all depends. Are you nervous about cruising right now? If you are, then take your time. Don't be a nervous person on a cruise. You're not going to enjoy it. If you're scared or you're keeping away from people, it's not a fun experience because some people are not social distancing. Some people have the mask pulled down all the time around their face, etc. I've seen arguments on the cruise ship, people yelling at each other in the theater to put your mask on and stuff like this. It's not fun. But if you're not afraid of that kind of stuff and you're just looking to cruise, can't wait to get back on, I wouldn't wait. I'd go ahead and book while there's less people on board. The prices are half decent, and you have that whole choice of whatever ship is out there because they're not selling out. So you have a lot of choice right now.
That's a good answer. There's another Canada question. I don't know that we touched on it. Traveling from Canada to cruise out of Florida in April, do you think the Canadian government will ease restrictions by then? That's from Brett Co 4.
No. Short answer. Canada is big on restrictions, everybody. I think those restrictions are in for a while here in Canada. In case you don't know, U.S. citizens and fellow UKers and that, you have to be fully vaccinated to get on a plane, bus, or train in Canada, even local travel.
Oh, wow.
You can't even, I can't go from Ottawa to Montreal 2 hours down the road in a train without being fully vaccinated. So are the restrictions going to lower? No, they're implementing stronger restrictions right now than ever before. So April's only 4 months away. I think the restrictions are still going to be there, especially for air travel. And when cruising starts up, you can guarantee these restrictions for vaccines, and that will be in place.
Wattleskin says, will Koningsdam be allowed to stop in Hawaii? They leave San Diego today. Again, it doesn't seem like Hawaii is posturing itself as being open in January. So I think keep your eyes on the cruise news this week because we might be having a story that Hawaii says we're not ready yet. But it could be a pleasant surprise where the story is, hey, they opened up. But I don't feel like that could be the story.
Or they stopped, but no one's getting off.
That's right, yeah. They're there, but they cannot get off. Wouldn't that be the worst, to roll into like the big island and not be able to get off the cruise ship? Question, can I request a beach lounger for your balcony and your solo traveler? Here's the thing I believe about cruise ships, and this is my philosophy. You can ask for anything you want, and the worst thing they can tell you is no. So that is my philosophy. Like if you're at the main dining room and you want something else to eat and you don't see it on the menu, just ask for it. The worst they can tell you is no. So I would say the same thing. Ask your room steward.
It's got to fit on the balcony.
Yeah. No, this is a good point.
Lounger doesn't fit on every balcony.
Yeah, if they don't have it, or if there's no accommodation for it, that could be. Let's see. James P says, how is visiting Alaska at the beginning of May? My only experience is in September, so I don't know about May. Don, have you been to Alaska in May?
May is very much like September. My cruise before the one we went on was in May. It is, I had some, and believe it or not, I had like perfect weather the whole 7-day cruise. It was like beautiful, beautiful weather. Tony and I, we got rain every day. When I went, it was sunshine and lollipops. So it's hit and miss in Alaska. You can expect rain every day, but when you don't get it, it's great. So the temperatures there are a little colder than they would be in July and August, but not by a whole lot. I wore a t-shirt the entire time I was there, except on the whale watching excursions, because when you're out there on the ocean, the wind picks up, it's cold. So keep that in mind if you book one of those. But walking around town, I wore a t-shirt the whole time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested to see what it's like in August this year, because it certainly did rain on us the whole trip that we went, but it was still a good time.
Both weeks for me, even
back to back. Question from Jean Alix. When do you think we'll see 100% capacity on board? I think as soon as the cruise lines find that they can do it without having a case count that would go outside of the tolerance. Right? It's think about that. They want as many people on their cruise ships as possible. We've seen some of the cruise lines pushing pretty hard into the 80s, but it's all about that balance. All of a sudden, if you get more cases, then ports are going to allow you to visit, and the government will tolerate. They're walking a tightrope. They're walking a tightrope all for the fact that they got a bunch of debt that they have to service. They're trying to get profitable. I tell you what, it's not an enviable position. I would not like to be a leader in the cruise space now, trying to make my numbers for Wall Street and keep the numbers down on the COVID. Or it's a crazy time. But I tell you what, as soon as they can do 100%, I think they'll do 100%. I don't know if that's 6 months from now or not, but we, again, like you said, Royal made the push in November to get up from 50, and I think their goal was somewhere in the 80s, and now they're holding a little bit, because they're trying to let it all flesh out. If at 50% 20 cases weren't a big deal, but now at 70% 40 cases is a big deal, they got to navigate that and figure out what to do. And again,
Carnival went to 75 almost immediately as soon as
I tell you what, when I was on the Mardi Gras, I think that we were at 80%. There was so many people on the Mardi Gras, and I think that's where they're running. So. Somebody said, what about cruising in Canada at the end of 2022? They didn't shut the cruise ports back down, right? Those just opened back up. And so there's no new prohibition against cruise ships stopping in Canada, as far as I know, right?
No. We actually had cruise ships stop in now in our Canadian ports. There's no passengers right now, but they have stopped to refuel and stuff like that, which they weren't allowed to do at all during all this time. So that's a really good sign. I think we're opening. And I think things are, let's just hope they don't get crazy, but I think they will open.
Good deal. Just sliding, everything's popping down. Carl B, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it, man. Let me, super chat. Question on NCL: if bidding on a room upgrade, do you get to choose a general location of the room? Example, midship. So for me, I think the room upgrade is a way for them to pick where they're going to put you, and so
that's exactly the way it is.
Yeah, it's you're going to get the upgrade, but you're not going to be able to pick where it's at. And so I don't think it's a game. I think it's smart because you're trying to trade some value and upgrade, but they know that. So here, for instance, if you know that midship cabins are more popular than non-midship cabins, if all of a sudden they can get you to upgrade and they can move you out of your midship cabin and put you somewhere else for your upgrade and have that more popular cabin able to book again, I believe that's the game that they're playing. It's smart, but yeah, it's not. You're not going to be doubly advantaged. You're going to get the upgrade, but you're not going to have the sweet prime location.
Well, not only that, you usually don't know until like 1 or 2 days before your cruise. So you don't have time to choose a cabin. They're just going to, okay, congratulations. When I won my bid, I was shocked that I won the grand for like $1,400. Like I won the grand suite, a $9,000 cabin. And I didn't care where they put me in that cabin. I would have taken any place because it was gorgeous. So yeah, you don't get to choose. They're going to put you someplace. And that even goes if you bid on like for the extra large balcony cabin instead of the regular balcony cabin that's much cheaper to bid on. You still don't get to choose. They're going to put you someplace. That's for Royal, that's for Celebrity, that's for NCL, that's for everybody.
Exactly. When do we think the booster requirement will be implemented? Again, we started to see it with a couple companies in Europe. I don't know. I think here's the thing. There's a lot going on. And so the other question that I've had, the big cruise news this week has been foreign ports turning away cruise ships. We have seen Royal, and the way they explained it was to cap their capacity. So they've stopped all bookings. And before they even said it publicly, it happened 3 or 4 days before that where you couldn't do anything on the back end. Like as a travel agent, you could not book a cabin. You could not move anybody around a little bit. But then I guess that's going to open back up on January. What I think's happening is no big announcements this week because of Christmas. So I think next week could be telling because now we're through the Christmas holidays. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's any new booster information, any cancellation information, that kind of stuff. But most of the big news this week came from outside the U.S., ports stopping cruises. So it'll be interesting what happens from the cruise line perspective next week. So hang on, stay tuned.
Yeah, I think they're giving 30 to 45 days leeway for the booster shots to be available, and then they're going to make the announcement.
Right.
So for instance, here in Canada, they became available on the 13th of December. I went to sign up right away, and my first date I could get is the 17th of January.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's almost a month away. So I have to wait a month. So they're giving some leeway, but I think it's going to come soon before the end of January. I'm pretty sure it's going to be booster shots.
That'll be interesting. Yeah. Mike Barker, thank you so much for the super chat. Wendy Calvert, thank you so much for the super chat. And JC Weddit 7, thank you guys for the super chat. Appreciate you guys supporting the show. You can also support the show by hitting the like button. I know we got close to 2,000 people in here at one point, so let's see if we can
Over
get to
2,000
15.
now.
Really, let's see if we can get to 1,500 likes. I think you can do it. I have faith in you guys. I didn't ask Don how long he wanted to stay on tonight. Don, what time you want to get off here tonight? Are you good for
I'm
an
here
hour?
till
You
you're
want
here.
All right.
Whatever you
we'll
want to
keep
do,
going.
bud.
We'll keep going into the next hour, answering some questions. I do see a lot of questions out there. Thanks everybody for your super chat.
I may have to go get another drink, but I'll come back.
Yes. I'll hold down the fort. I got this much coffee left, so I don't think I can quit until I'm done with my coffee. All right, Don. Out of everything you got going on next year, let's talk a little Don. What are you most excited about so far? I know that's hard when you have so many things going on, but when I say what you're most excited about, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm excited for my groups next year. I'm on 3. I get to meet people and all that. It's going to be a lot of fun. But as far as individual cruises are concerned, first of all, the Love Boat cruise. Come on, meeting the cast in person. That's going to be a lot of fun. I found out my cruise director friend Natalie is going to be the cruise director on board. She's heading over in January. Thumbs crossed that goes through. And then, of course, looking at seeing Captain Kate again with you guys on the brand new Celebrity Beyond. Can't wait to do that one again. I might even try and stretch it into 2 cruises if I can. Do something else in that area. But it's an expensive endeavor to do the Mediterranean on a brand new ship, as you've probably found out when you booked as well. Not to mention flights and all that, right? So
yeah, I submitted my request for that cruise to the people that book our travel, my wife. And when she started to book that cruise, she's like, "Do you know how much this is?" I said, "I don't care. Don said to go. Just pay the money, Jenny." And then she told me the number, and I'm like, maybe I got to call Don and tell him we're not doing this thing. But no, we've already pushed you off more than once. We got to do this
don't
cruise.
be bad. I got to pay for 2 cabins, so
I think it'll be great. Nick Moga has a related question. How soon will we cruise together in 2022? Right now, the July is it. But again, I got some open spots, so I don't know. I'm tempted to. When you said
trying
Panama
to get you
Canal,
on that Love Boat.
yeah, I don't want to go
on the Love Boat, but you're not a big fan. But
not a big fan.
it's cheap, Tony. It's cheap.
How cheap is it? We got to go to California to do that. I almost jumped on some cruises in California, but I don't know. We'll see how it is. That's all the way across the nation for both of us. That's a long trip.
That's true. That's true.
I'm driving to Las Vegas though next month, so I'll be over there. Question: is there any place you can check to see how full an upcoming cruise will be? So, Jim, this is probably one of the most popular questions we get. What's the capacity on this ship? What's the capacity on that ship? You don't know. Like a lot of times you'll get on there, and the way that you know is like on the first night in the theater when the cruise director goes, "Hey, we got 857 people on board, and 18 of them are from Argentina." That's usually it. Like nobody's publishing that in advance. So I think it's a great question, and I'm sure people would like to know. They give some sort of indication from time to time. We want to cruise at this or that, but you really don't know until you get on. At least that's been my experience. I don't have any back-end secret to know kind of thing.
Well, a rule of thumb, though, if you're looking at the new ships like the Apex, the Mardi Gras, they're going to be more full than the Summit and the Vista. They will be more full than those ships because everyone wants to try the new ships. So, if you're looking for less people, I mean, the Summit can hold 2,000 passengers. We had 500 on board, like 25%. The ship felt literally empty. Literally empty.
Let me grab a few of these. I have a cruise coming up. Should I cancel? Should I make final payment? Here's the deal. Whatever your tolerance is, you're usually going to be in a better position. Let me say 2 things. First of all, a lot of cruise lines are adjusting their policies so that you don't have to make final payments as far out as you have been previously. Some cruise companies are making it easier to move from one cruise to another if you don't feel comfortable. Some companies aren't budging at all. Here's the best rule of thumb. It is usually better for you financially if the cruise company cancels your cruise opposed to you. Normally there is some sort of fee that you'll have to pay if you cancel, depending on the cruise line. If you are uncomfortable cruising right now and that's going to be the overriding thing, I would cancel the cruise, but I would wait until the cruise line cancels. So again, it's just going to be about your tolerance. If you're already having the question, like you don't want to go cruising 6 months from now, even though we don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now, if you can get out of that thing by only losing your deposit, maybe that's what you do. But it depends on what your tolerance is for losing the money. But at the end of the day, you're going to be better off if the cruise line cancels your cruise. But again, do you want to put down thousands of dollars on a final payment and still feel uncomfortable when you might lose a couple $100 in a deposit? I don't know. What do you think, Don? Do you have clients calling you up saying, I'm uncomfortable, should I pay my cruise off? What do you tell them normally?
I tell them it depends on how much you need the money. Because if you're on a cruise that you can cancel up to 2 days before your cruise and just get the future cruise credits for it, cruise later, I'm in that position that I could say, okay, just put it in the bank and I'll use them later. But I cruise all the time. Not everyone does that. So if you're not going to cruise for another 2 years and you need your money, cancel it. You can rebook it. That's what refundable deposits are for. If you're nervous about it, you don't want to be nervous.
Exactly.
That's cruising's supposed to be fun. You should not be nervous about going on a vacation. So if you're nervous about it, I'd advise you go ahead and cancel it. If you decide to go, you can just rebook. Yeah. Take the money and run, as they say.
All right, I'm going to focus in on a couple questions that I think are really good. First, this is a question from me to you, Don. Did you cry during the Spider-Man movie?
I did not cry during the Spider-Man movie.
I knew I was more sensitive than you. I cried right in the middle of that Spider-Man movie.
Now,
all right,
Iron Man,
like that?
Endgame. That's different.
Yeah. Another nerd-related question. Question for Don. What is your favorite Street Fighter character? Who are you playing on the Street Fighter game?
Chun-Li.
Chun-Li. I knew that was going to be the answer. I 100% knew that was going to be the answer.
The spinning move like this? So yeah,
That's
I
right.
do that all the time.
It's the
the only
best.
move
All right.
I could do regularly.
Good nerd questions. Back to cruise questions. I've sailed Norwegian and Carnival. Who should I try next? Jenny Lynn wants to know. If that's been your experience on Norwegian and Carnival, who are you trying in the third spot?
Oh. If you're looking for the same kind of experience, you got to give Royal a try now. You know, you may be blown away by the entertainment on board. You just may be.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm with you. So if I've sailed Norwegian and Carnival, I'm trying Royal, and then after I've had those three in, I'm going to slot into Princess or Celebrity. Yeah. But it took me forever to try Norwegian. With that being said, it was hard for us to get there because of cancellations. Linda Wirt, thank you so much for the super sticker. What are the details on the Love Boat cruise, Lawrence asked. I'd love to go. Do you know the specific date?
I believe it's the 26th of February out of Los Angeles, 7-day Mexico, down to Cabo and that kind of thing, with all cast members except Captain Steubing, Gavin McLeod, who unfortunately passed away a few months ago. But all the other cast members are supposed to be there. They're going to be, this is a cruise in remembrance of Gavin McLeod. So they'll be talking about a lot of stories behind the scenes and things like that. The price, I just booked somebody in US dollars, taxes and port fees, 2 people in a balcony was like $2,400 for a 7-day cruise, like a themed cruise. And that was Canadian, I think. So I think it's even cheaper than that. So some really good deals on that cruise. There's not a lot of cabins left. If you want to go, gotta book fast.
There you go. So book it now. And a related question, Don, are you a travel agent? Yes, Don is certainly a travel agent. You gave out your email address earlier. If you want to give that out again, if you want Don's help with booking your travel, the guy's got tons of experience. He's got group cruises. That email is what was it again?
It's just my name, dterrace@travelonly.com. Angelina's been looking after a lot. That's my niece. She's been looking after a lot of the bookings since I travel a lot, and I have YouTube channels to try and do content for. But her and I work side by side. If she has any questions whatsoever, she gives me a call. But so far everyone loves to deal with Angelina. She's a sweetheart on the phone. So
There you go. Now, Lisa Babe, number one, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, just a word on questions, guys. The chat flies by pretty quick, and so we just pick them out as they go. If your question doesn't get answered, it's nothing personal. Keep trying, and hopefully we will pick it up. But if not, and you get to the end of the show and the replay is up, if you want to drop the question there, I do try to read those comments and answer some of the questions. So, yeah, just know if your question's not being picked up, it's not anything personal. It's just part of the thing. Question: what happens if all scheduled ports turn away the ship going on Carnival Liberty January the 8th, the ABC Islands? They have turned away ships. Sandy Stevens, then you're just not going to get off at the ports. I know that's the worst answer ever, but hopefully they'll give you your port fees back. Okay. Here's the question, Don. I read an article today where some guy who was on the Odyssey, and I didn't read it full. I mean, I read the full article, but I don't remember the person's name. You know, they got turned away from Bonaire. They got turned away from Aruba. And he was like, the only thing that Royal did is they refunded our money, our port fees and taxes, and then they gave us $50 onboard credit or something for. I mean, the reality is Royal doesn't have to give them back any money. Like when you're signing up, you're pretty much agreeing that everything could go sideways when you sign that cruise contract. I think it's nice when the cruise companies give the money back, but do you think they should? Do you think that they should be given money back when you miss an island because the island turns you away?
well, right now, like the cruise lines are not going to refund you because a port says you can't come in. They're planning to go there. They're told they can go there. They book everybody to go there, and then the cruise port just says, no, sorry, you can't go. It's beyond their control. It's beyond their choice. And right now, you have to expect that. If you're not prepared to expect that, then you should not be cruising right now, unfortunately. You have to roll with those punches, right? Even in the best of times, you got to know how to roll with the punches. Remember, I was on that transatlantic. I was all set for Norway and Ireland and Scotland, and we had all the winter clothes with us. Oh, here comes a hurricane coming up from Canada. We're not going to go in that direction. We're heading down to Spain. So instead of like 60-degree weather, we went to 100-degree weather, and we're all in heavy coats and stuff like that. You just learn to roll with the punches. Instead of a Norway cruise, it turned into a Spanish cruise. Completely different.
Great answer. Raven Smith, has Mexico closed their ports there? There's a lot of ports in Mexico. Puerto Vallarta turned a cruise ship away. I haven't heard of Cozumel or Costa Maya or any of the other popular cruise ports there. So
Yeah.
whichever one
It all seems to be the West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast. Whichever cruise port you may be going to there in Mexico, you might want to just do a Google search and check. But I haven't heard any that are hard closed. It's just a case-by-case basis as the cruise lines work with the local health authorities. Wu-Tang Life asks, cruise line with the youngest demographic. I remember a while ago they were saying that the average age of cruisers were 48 or 49 years old. I don't know who skews the youngest. I've seen a diverse amount of age on most of the major cruise lines. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the ones that are more family oriented to me are Royal, Carnival, Norwegian, kind of the major ones. But any stick out in your mind as skewing young demographic wise?
I'm thinking right now maybe Virgin.
Yeah.
With their new ship designs and what they're offering. I'd have to check that. They haven't been running long enough to really know, and only with one ship, right? But definitely Royal has a lot more of a mixed demographic than, say, a Celebrity or a Princess cruise would have. Yeah. Just because of the activities on board. Like most 65-year-olds are not going on the Flow Rider, although there are some, and they're amazing. But that's not me. I'll kill myself. And you'll see that in March, because we're going to have to do it in March. I got my nephews with me. So we'll be falling all over the place on the Allure at that point. So, definitely Royal, what date's your Allure maybe Norwegian cruise? As well. So
yeah. What's your date on the Allure cruise? Is it right after the Wonder? Or you're on the Wonder or not on the Wonder?
I'm not on the Wonder yet.
Okay.
No. All right. I don't know if Angelina will let me go again for that long a time. I'd like to get on the Wonder. Have you booked the Wonder yet?
Yeah, we're on for Jenny's birthday, so the 4th of March.
The 4th?
Yeah. That's going to be interesting. So,
I'll think about it.
Yeah, the 4th of March. That would be cool. Let's see. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Any plans to cruise on Virgin in 2022?
I want to. So every time I'm sailing out of Miami and Fort Lauderdale now, I'm looking to see what's available on Virgin and trying to attach one to it so I can check it out. So I
That
will
would be
get there
cool.
in 2022 at some point. Yeah.
Nice. Beth asked an interesting question. If you could bring any celebrity cruising with you, who would it be?
Uh, hmm. Do I bring my crush or do I bring a celebrity? Like if I could sail with any passenger I'd like to get to know, I'd love to get to know Gal Gadot. I think she's beautiful.
Mm.
Um, and I loved her in Wonder Woman. I like her in Red Notice. I like her as an actress. A lot of people don't. I do. But I also seen her interviews, and I think she's a fun person to hang out with. But if you're just talking, if I'm just going to choose somebody to hang out on a cruise, I got two people. One, Tom Cruise,
Mm.
Cruise with Cruise, just because of his work ethic and all the types of movies he's been in, the way he does all his own stunts. I think he has some fascinating stories. And then a guy's guy would have to be Ryan Reynolds
Oh,
because
there
he's
you go.
so
Yeah.
quick with the one-liners and the wit and good old Canadian boy. He just, I think it would be a huge blast to sail with those guys.
Easy answer for me. If I'm taking a celebrity on a cruise with me, it's Don Terrace. Thank you so much, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
a cop out. That's a cop out.
Thank you so much. Oddly enough, look, there's a couple like that's a hard question for me. It's I don't know like a celebrity that I would like to sit down and interview and talk to. I'd like to talk to Bob Dylan. And so I don't know how that would play out on a cruise ship, but that could be an interesting introverted kind of deal. But yeah, I don't know. Just I would probably be pulling some creative that doesn't really care about being out in the sun, just like me too, and talking stuff. I don't know if he cares about being out in the sun, but yeah, it would be interesting. Be interesting. But the thing is, you wouldn't get much cruising done because everybody would be mobbing the celebrity. Let's see. Question: if I get COVID on the ship, will I get my whole cruise refunded? Bob, it depends on the cruise line. Depends on whether you need to have insurance, whether or not they have insurance. You just want to check the policies of the cruise line that you're cruising with and know them well, because it's not the same answer on every cruise line.
Many of them now are you will get refunded the remainder of your cruise
Yeah,
from when you
prorated,
caught
right?
COVID on board. So it used to be just everybody, like you got it. But that also goes for your contact, everyone in your party that would get the same thing. And most of them are covering the cost if you do end up in a hospital or hotel. But yeah, check those policies because not everyone is doing it.
Yep. Maynard Hodges with the question: is it true it's against the law just to cruise to nowhere? Yeah, in the U.S., there's this thing called the Passenger Vessel Services Act, and basically that says that a foreign flagged vessel cannot carry passengers for money from one U.S. port to another U.S. port or from one U.S. port back to the same U.S. port without making a foreign stop. And so, they have to have an exemption to that. So if your cruise has a foreign stop that gets canceled, they're going to have a conversation about that to get an exemption for that. But you can't just leave Miami, go out into the sea, and then come back to Miami because of the Passenger Vessel Services Act. It was a big deal for Alaska cruises to happen this year because the Senate had to provide an exemption for the Passenger Vessel Services Act that was signed off by the president. So in the same scenario, and that thing expires, I think, in February when cruising starts back up for Canada, which Canada is open now. But yeah, so we don't have a quick path to cruise to nowhere like they do over in Europe. So it's a challenge, which would
No.
I think
And
would
if you do have a cruise that say you're going to Cabo San Lucas and it's canceled, they'll still pull into the country's waters, and that
yep,
counts as a foreign country. They don't actually have to let anybody off as long as they enter the waters.
right. Let's see. Maybe you'll know this one, Don. Marv the Martian asks, question on RCL. If you use lift and shift for a canceled cruise, can you do it again for a new cruise?
NCL has some weird policies sometimes. You know what? Usually you can work it. Usually you can get them to do stuff like that for you. Yeah. Right now, cruise lines, most of them have been very accommodating. You can get the odd person online when you're trying to deal with them who are just terrible. And I'll be honest with you, I've had terrible with Carnival, terrible with Princess, terrible. I've had terrible agents that when I get on the phone with them and I can tell they're going to be that way, I get their name, I hang up the phone and I report them to my business development manager and I call back. And usually, once you get somebody who's just willing to work with you, they'll figure out something to make you happy. I'm 99 times out of 100. Very rarely do I ever leave going, well, that was just ridiculous. So
Nice. Question from Darren: have we ever cruised from Ireland? Don, have you taken a cruise that initiated in the UK or in Ireland?
in the UK, but not out of Ireland.
Not out of Ireland.
There, but Southampton and all that. Obviously, we've been there a few times. A lot of sailings down into Spain and all that leave from there into the Med. But I've never sailed out of Ireland. That would be an interesting. Like I'm leaving from Amsterdam. That's the first time I'm leaving from Amsterdam on next year on a cruise. So that'll be interesting.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
K Diggs asks, what's the target demo for MSC cruises? Are they any good, as fun as Carnival? We both had a little bit of experience cruising on MSC. I would say their demographic is the same. They're targeting the same audience as Carnival and Royal. They try to come in at a cheaper price point, but I feel like if you surveyed American cruisers, I think if you surveyed American Carnival and Royal cruisers, I don't think that they would choose MSC over Carnival and Royal, even if it was a little cheaper. I think that's a fair statement. From the feedback that you've got, Don, do you think Royal or Carnival cruisers would pick MSC even if it was cheaper?
Not if they didn't have to. And the ships are beautiful, and there's a lot of fun things to do on the ships. Like some of them have those 4D virtual arcades, the Formula One racer simulator, and all those kind of things. A lot of fun things to do. Their drawback tends to be a lot of the time the choice of entertainment that they put on board. In some cases, shadow puppets, for one thing, mimes. And then the food in the regular dining tends to be a little lower than some of the other cruise lines. Is their reputation. They may be changing that with the new Seashore and Seaside. Might be going better, but that's their reputation right now. As far as MSC is concerned, they're cheaper. You're going to get a little less of this and a little weird entertainment sometimes, but you can get some really good prices of cruise. And if you're elite with any cruise line, they will match your status once you book. So, like I'm permanently elite with MSC, and I've only been on 3 cruises with them. So.
Yeah, and it may not matter to many other people, but if you go to the casino specifically to play craps, they don't have craps tables on MSC cruises. And so if that's one of your things that you like to do on a cruise, that could be a challenge for you also. Doug Walters asks questions. Princess Future Cruise credits must be used by 12/31/2022. I used all mine for Hawaii. If I canceled Hawaii destination and it's not available until 2023, will they allow the Future Cruise credits to transfer? Have you been dealing with any expiring FCC, and what's been the approach of the cruise?
Normally, if you've booked your cruise with Princess and the cruise itself gets canceled or they can't go for some reason, they will then let you reuse them and book them and extend the date out till you can use them. So yeah, like I said, they'll work with you. Don't be afraid to give them a call and work with them. And actually, if you ever get into a point where they say, oh, no, you have to use them by this time or they're no good or anything, say, okay, I want my money back then. Give me the cash credit for those Future Cruise credits. Because technically they have to do it with the new laws that have been coming in Canada and the United States. So, don't be afraid to push back. But generally, they're going to work with you. They don't want to lose your business. They're going to trying to make you happy.
There you go. Question. Well, first of all, I want a big shout out to the Blue Crew. Tonight's chat is open to subscribers and non-subscribers. Our normal Tuesday night show we just do for subscribers only. And so Blue Crew's doing a great job of keeping some of the ne'er-do-wells at bay. And we appreciate you guys out there. I want to say that. Question. This is a good one that I've missed a couple times. Will's Bonfire Grills and more. How do you deal with bad internet connections? This is something that plagues both of us, Don. We always get on cruise ships hoping for the best, and we have The cool thing about what we do is we have a workflow, right? Like we make our videos at a certain time, we publish them at a certain time, and that doesn't change when we get on cruise ships. Sometimes Don's a little better than I am about having pre-made videos, but let's imagine it's day one of the cruise, Don. What is your process of assessing the internet, and then how do you adjust your week based on whether the internet's good or bad?
Yeah, well, like you said, I like to have, if I'm going on a 7 day cruise, I like to have at least three in the bank that, cruise tips, something that I can just put up if I get stuck. But I'd rather put up a new video every day, usually the day after the adventure I just had, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
But the summit's internet was dreadful, um, absolutely dreadful. But I still got through it. So you just have to work around it. For us, I'll do a lot of cases is I'll make my video, edit it, and I'll upload it, and it'll say 7 hours till it's finished. So I'll leave my computer running for 7 hours and go do stuff and come back, or wake up first thing in the morning and finish it off, kind of thing. So there are some fun situations that the internet is just terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah, and that's completely what it is. Pretty early, so I'll try to maybe even do a live stream on day one to get a sense of what's going on with the internet. And once I realize I never do it good, like I should prepare better. I'll be completely transparent. By the time I'm going cruising, I'm just running to make sure I can get on the cruise ship. And so usually on the first day when I go to upload a show, I find out pretty quickly whether it's going to take a half hour, 2 hours, or 12 hours. And then I make the adjustments. So sometimes I don't have a show on the first day. But then once I know if it's going to take 12 hours, then I adjust accordingly. I'll try to have my work done and have that 12-hour window to upload. When I was on the NCL Joy, I could upload the 10-minute video in 2 hours. And so I knew that if I wanted to publish at 12 every day, which I try to do, then I had to be done with the show by 10 every day. And so I adjusted what time I would get up and make sure I had the whole thing ready to start uploading by 10 o'clock. The problem with that is if there was anything glitchy or if the internet even slowed down even more, that could be a challenge. But I think we do pretty good. Like you said, you usually got something in the can. I've been trying to have one or two in the can when I get on the cruise ship. But I'm like you. I like to have the fresh content out there. And so it's that kind of thing. Let's see. Question: what are the chances of seeing the Northern Lights in September in Alaska? I'm not familiar. Like we sure didn't see it in September.
The entire 2 week cruise that we did in September. Well, you did 7. I did another 7 after that. The further north we went, they kept saying, better chance to see it tonight. Better chance to see it tonight. It all depends on the weather. A single cloud cover, you're not seeing nothing. And that's basically, we had rain the entire time. So we saw absolutely no glimpse of it whatsoever. But you can. September is the best time if you're going to see them in Alaska. And I'd say you have about a 25% chance of seeing them on a clear night as well. So it's not guaranteed, but if you're going to see them, that's the time.
All right, Don, here's an interesting question, a tough question, I think. I'm not sure what your answer is to this or not. So James asked the question, are there any unwritten benefits to building loyalty on any one cruise line? But let me ask it a different way. If you're only going to cruise once or twice a year, and it's not your job to go on as many different cruise ships as possible, would you be all about building the loyalty? Or yeah, just that simple. You got 2 cruises to go on a year. Are you going to go on the same 2 cruise ship? Are you going to go on the same cruise line twice to build loyalty, or are you going to not go on the same cruise line twice to build loyalty? Because 2 a year, it's going to take you 10 years before you could try another cruise line.
It can, yeah. I would say it depends. First of all, are you really happy with that cruise that you were on? Like if you jump on Princess or Celebrity as your first cruise ship and you discover, you know what, I like this. Good food and it has fun entertainment. I love the game shows and the Princess Live. I'm really happy with this. I don't need the flow riders and all that. Then yeah, build up your loyalty. If that's exactly if that fits your cup of tea, shall we say. But if you go on and you say, well, that was fun, but I didn't really like this and I could have done without it. Try other cruise lines until you find the one that you really love and then build up your loyalty. but it's a lot of fun just checking out different lines and the different things they have, and it because every cruise line is a little different and different personalities. But speaking of loyalty, I just figured out on my last cruise, because it was Royal Celebrity, and I was in a suite. They were giving away double points for the cruise itself, double loyalty points. Then I got double loyalty points because I was in a suite, and then I got double loyalty points because I was a solo cruiser in a suite. So
Oh,
I got
wow.
6 times the loyalty points, and so my celebrity status went even higher.
That's amazing.
All in
So
one cruise.
And I haven't, it's probably worth maybe making a video or something. I haven't gone through all the cruise loyalty in a long time, because I have a very, if it
There's
was me
nothing
just doing,
outstanding.
if it was me just doing 2 cruises a year, I don't think that I would care. Yeah, does anything jump out at you as like, wow, this is a perk that it's so much better to have a loyalty than just paying for the perk?
I tell you, my best perk out of all of them is getting that free laundry. Whenever you're
Which
on a
cost
cruise, you get that free laundry.
which
Really
costs how
nice.
much money?
Sometimes up
just
to
paying for it.
$40 for a bag.
Right. And so how much money does it cost loyalty wise to get there? Like how many cruises did you spend $40,000
You had to hit
to get a
for a princess, so a lot.
Yeah, so did you spend $40,000? This is the pragmatist in me. If you're telling me if I spend $40,000 I can get a $40 bag of laundry every time I go cruising, I'm just going to pay the $40. But that's me. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So it just depends. The loyalty, I think, is great because we all like to feel connected with something. I think it's a psychological play. We all like to feel connected with something. But again, maybe do the math on it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with grinding out loyalty, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with not doing it either.
No, and nothing would change me from, okay, I can only cruise on this one now because I like the loyalty points.
Right.
Like the loyalty perks. Oh, I get 10% off in the gift shops. Great. I get 20% off on shore excursions. Great. Is it life-changing? No. But I tell you, some of the prices on those Greek cruises, maybe 20% off would be nice.
20% would have been nice for sure. Wally asks a question. Tony and Don, with all the cruises you've taken, how many cruise ship models do you have? It's a great question. Don't you have a lot of yours
You
strung
got
to your
one.
Christmas tree there? I do have one. I'm not a collector of cruise models. My normal souvenir is a magnet, but Jenny bought me a cruise model on my last cruise. But you get one from every cruise, right?
Every new ship I go on, I try and get the model, unless they don't have a model. Like the last time I was on the Allure, they didn't have a model, so I couldn't get it, but I bought one this time. I just added 5 more, so I'm approaching 80 some models now altogether.
Oh, wow.
But they're in boxes, all packed away. Like, you can't put 80 of them out. It would cover my house. I got them in the tree, all behind me here. So yeah, I have a lot of models. That's the one thing I buy. That's my collector's item. I don't do mugs too often. I don't do anything, but I like the ship models.
All right, I'm going to hit you with a hard question now. The chat jumped down to the bottom a little bit, but Kevin Hart asked, if you could only choose one cruise line, what would it be? Here's the pressing question. You got to cruise with that line for the rest of your days.
I'm still, as much as I've been loving Celebrity and the Royal Entertainment and that, I'm going to stick with my Princess right now because it's got that home feeling to me now. I've sailed with them so often. Their designs are almost identical no matter the size of their ship. So you know your way around, you know what to expect. And they have cruise directors that you know them by name when you're on the ship. Not all cruise lines are. Geez, I was just on the Allure. It was only a 6-day cruise, and I thought there were 4 different cruise directors because they had 4 different people announcing things at different shows and things like that, and they all said they're an entertainment director. Okay, but on Princess, you get to know them. I like Princess Live. I love the game shows. I like to participate in those on board, and I know what the entertainment's going to be normally. So, and food, of course. So I would stick with them. If I had to do it for the rest of my life, right now it'd still be Princess. But I tell you, Celebrity is really close. They really are.
Nice. I don't have to answer that.
What
right?
are you going with?
Oh, okay. Look, I think if it was Sophie's choice, if I could only choose one cruise line and I had to kill the rest of them, I would cruise on Royal, because I do believe that Royal has the best entertainment. I like the promenade layout. I'll sacrifice a beautiful atrium for that open 3-deck walk around promenade. And look, even though I don't use the flow riders and the the iFly and all that stuff right now,
Skydiving
I might at some point. I do like that stuff. At some point, I might be dragging grandkids on a cruise ship. So if I could only choose one for the rest of my days, I would probably choose Royal, just because the entertainment is good, the food's great, especially restaurants are good, and it does have some fun stuff. If all of a sudden you got a kid component to it.
and a wide variety of ships too.
Right.
Wide variety. So
Right. A lot of stuff popping around. Sorry, jumping around on the chat, guys. Deals question: March Royal Caribbean cruise. What are the best deals for excursions, drink, Wi-Fi package? Book Boxing Days deals now or later. If there's Boxing Day promos right now, do you think there'll be something better closer to March?
okay, it doesn't matter. Book them now, because you can cancel and book them again. They're fully refundable all the way up until 3 days before your cruise, before the actual event. So if it's a drink package, 3 days before your cruise. If it's a shore excursion, 3 days before your shore excursion. That's the rule of thumb. Fully refundable. So book them now, and if you get a better deal, rebook them.
Good point. And that happens pretty quick, because I've canceled like my dining package because it went down, and I got the money back pretty quick, and then rebooked
A couple
at the
days
cheaper
later.
price.
Yeah.
100%. Question: how do you think they will handle the 6-month wait time between your vaccine and booster shots and requiring those? Again, not medical professionals, not policy professionals. If you can't get a vaccine for 6 months, if you can't get a booster for 6 months, I think what the cruise lines are going to have to do is, I think it's going to be a date-driven thing. I think that your full vaccination will have to be not older than a certain time, right? And it's going to be based on whatever the guidance of the government is. This is me just speculating. I don't 100% know. But if you cannot get a booster because you just got vaccinated 2 weeks ago or whatever, you won't be able to get a booster. I don't imagine the cruise lines are going to prohibit you from cruising. I think it's going to be a time thing. I think. I don't know. They're going to have to make some sort of accommodation for that, or they're going to lose a lot of people that can't get the booster shot, I think. What do you think, Don?
I think it's going to be eligible for your third dose.
Yeah.
And
if all of a
there
sudden
is
your
that 6 month component.
Yeah. If your vaccine's 6 months, 8 months old, they may say, look, before you can get on the cruise ship, you have to be boosted to bring that up to date. Question: how does NCL food compare to other cruise lines' food? I just recently went on NCL. I'm happy to speak to it. To me, and this may not be true for everybody, I don't find that the MDRs are that much different. Like, they don't really blow me away. There was a couple nights on Royal Caribbean that blew me away, but when it comes to Carnival, Royal, and NCL, I felt like if you're going to the MDR, it's all about the same. And so then it drops over to choices for included food. I've always said I think Carnival does included food the best. They have more options. But when I went on Norwegian and I went to the local, the thing that I really liked about the local is that they brought the food to you. They served you the food. It was essentially 24 hours. It was a diverse menu. I like that included food better than having access to Guy's Burger and the included food options. Royal's not super strong on their included food options. They've got the Royal Promenade. They got the pizza. Sometimes during the day they got the doghouse, depending on what kind of cruise ship you're on. I don't think they're killing the game when it comes to included food. So to me, it's Norwegian versus Carnival. And I would pick the local over access to Shaq's Big Chicken and Guy's Burger because the local's 24/7. That's just me. Don, what do you think about the Norwegian's food? Is that the question?
You know what?
Norwegian's
I haven't been on a Norwegian cruise since we restarted, but I have been on many Royal Caribbean cruises. I've been on the Encore as well, where you have your group cruise going next year.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, the MDR is about the same when you consider NCL, Royal, probably even, well, maybe Princess and Celebrity might be just a tad step up, but not not enough to make it groundbreaking. The other choices, though, however, is your amount of choices for specialty dining. For instance, Princess, very limited specialty dining. You might have 2, maybe 3 options on a Princess cruise. Royal Caribbean, you may have 10.
Yeah.
Norwegian, I think the Encore, I think there was 5 specialty
There was a
dining
lot. It felt
last
like a
time I
lot.
looked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's
There was.
and
Yeah.
those are your choices. Now the prices range dramatically. Specialty dining on my Allure cruise could range $65 a person. On Princess, some of them were $25 a person. So it really varies. Norwegian's right smack dab in the middle with all that. But I do have to recommend this to people. I have a lot of people saying, Don, I've been going back to cruise. I want to make it special. What do I do? Try a chef's table.
There you go.
If a cruise line has a chef's table, give it a shot, especially a celebrity or a royal or a princess cruise. People that I've recommended it to have booked it when they got to the ship, and they said they will do 100 more because the food is amazing. It's cooked specially for you. It doesn't go into the main dining room. The chefs cook it directly for you, and it's a sampling of what they could actually do if they were given free reign. And it's not your normal food that you're going to see every night in any specialty restaurant. So I would give it a try. Especially give Princess one a try because they do like a big event where it's like 10 waiters come in and the chef is there, the maitre d' is there. It's all wine paired, but it's a lot of fun. Do a chef's table. It's great.
Here's a great question from Lane Elbers. Don, you have done a 14-day cruise. Have you done a 14-day cruise? If you had, what do you think about being on a ship that long? And let me add my own little part to it. What's the longest cruise you've ever been on? And is there a length of cruise that is too long for you?
No. I love cruising. Yeah, I just did the 15-day Panama just recently on the Emerald Princess. Done back-to-back Alaska. We just did as well. No cruise is too long for me. But because it depends also what kind of cabin you're in when you're on it. The more space you have, the better it seems to be. So if you're going on a really long cruise and you can grab a mini suite, for instance, instead of an inside cabin, you're going to have a better time because you're not going to feel cramped all the time. You're going to feel like you're in an apartment more than you're on a cruise ship. But yeah, the longest I've been on in the last, say, 10 years would be a 28-day cruise. So 4 weeks. Had a lot of fun. You can get burnout on a cruise and be glad to go home and sleep in your own bed and all that kind of stuff. But I could stay on a cruise. I would have no problem going on that 246-day world cruise on Royal Caribbean. I could do that in a heartbeat if I had the money. So I guess it just depends. But no, I don't think any cruise is too long. I would stay on the ship.
Yeah, so Jenny and I, of course, it's hard to predict the future, right? And so for us, I think our longest, or my longest day might have been 9 days. Were we on 9 days when we went to Japan? That might have been my longest cruise. I think it was a 9-day cruise. It might not have been that long, but no more than eight or nine for me. But I think for us, Jenny and I kind of have a loose goal to go on the world cruise sometime between the age of 55 and 60. So that gives us 5 years to really kind of think about it and plan for it. And I think we would like it. I mean, I would love to go to all of those continents and then the heritage sites. I think it would be mind-blowing. But I think I need to see if I can do 20 days or 30 days on a cruise ship before I commit to something that big. But in my mind, I think I could do it. The cruise cabins are small. Now, there are times at the end of a 7-day cruise where I'm like, I'm ready to have some more space. Like if I'm in a balcony cabin by myself, it's not too bad. But if Jenny and I are in there together, and nothing to do with our relationship or anything like that, just sharing that small of a space for 7 days with another person, it's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind being back to something the size of my bedroom again, So it would be interesting to see what that feels like after 30 days. I'm sure you come up with ways for it to not be so overwhelming, stay a lot out of the cabin a lot, but yeah, somewhere along the way, I'd love to get on a world cruise, but I mean, you got to make a plan for that because it's like, buying, a house.
And you know what?
at
You
some
want to
point.
choose a cruise line. You want to choose a cruise line that's not going to show the same Broadway show every week
Yeah.
for the 111 days. Because
That's
you
right.
will get tired of that Broadway show.
Yeah. I lost who asked the question, but first of all, let me say Margot H. Knight, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. I forgot who asked the question, but somebody said they were looking at a $30 per night cruise or maybe a whole cruise for $30. Will they cut corners on entertainment and other things? You know, personally, if you're going on a smaller cruise ship, that's probably where that $30 price is. And a smaller, older cruise ship, it's already going to have entertainment that's probably good but not great. I don't think they'll be cutting corners, though. The show is what the show is, regardless of the price. So I don't think you're going to get... They're not going to be taking stuff away to sell it to you for $30. I don't think you'll get on there and all of a sudden no show. But it's probably not going to be a great show. You know what I mean? Could be a good show, but not a great show. I don't know if that's fair. What do you think, Don?
I have seen like weird stuff, like the Regal Princess. They had 4 dancers. 4.
Just 4.
For their Broadway shows. They had 5 singers and 4 dancers. So the poor dancers had to do these numbers that were designed for 8 to 10 dancers. And so they were doing every solo number and doing it. And being somebody who knows all the princess shows, I was going, well, this just doesn't look right. They were doing their best and everything. I felt really bad for them. And it was just because when they came online, because other ships were coming online at the same time, they had to divide up the dance crew. And that's what they ended up getting. They got 4, and they're still waiting for more to come on board. So it's just weird. So weird. When you see a show you're used to seeing 10 people, and it's...
Yeah, and all of a sudden they've got 4 people trying to fill out the stage. A lot of great questions. Yeah. I see a couple of people asking about the Horizon. I haven't looked at the cruise news since I made the show today. I don't know of anything popping off on the Horizon. I'll definitely be looking after the show. I just want to answer that there. A great time to say a big thank you to Don. We still got about 20 more minutes to go. But if you want to show some support and some love for Don, make sure you go over to his channel, Don's Family Vacations, and hit the subscribe button. Watch a couple of his videos. Make sure that you like those. I'd be surprised if you guys aren't already subscribed to Don, but we do have that opportunity to pull in new people that maybe have not seen both of us or both of us together. So if you like seeing both of us together, make sure you hit a like on this button and on this show and share it out when you can. Let's see, who else? There was another good question that may have just disappeared. I don't know. This is a good question that maybe you can help with, Don. TMM's Graceful ask, I need to call Princess to reprice. If you reprice the cruise, will that mess with their easy air?
No.
Or are those two things separate?
Repricing a cruise does not affect your air whatsoever.
Yeah, those are separate lines. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Jay Chapman, my wife and I have only done a Disney cruise. Can you make a recommendation for a line that we would try that is similar and what's included? Best service experience. So they got Disney money, Don. They want something that's where a lot of stuff's included with the best service.
Well, I saw this question a little earlier as well. Star class on like Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. I got to experience this a little bit with the Grand Suite and the Royal Suite. If you got the money, those suites are beautiful. And the service that you get is top notch. And I mean top notch. I could ask for anything at any time. There was somebody there 24 hours a day to answer my call. Private butlers. They have different areas of the ship set up just for you. Priority to shows, priority to dining, priority disembarkation, priority tendering. Everything is included in the Star class. So if you have the money, you know what? That Star class is pretty darn nice. It really is.
That's the interesting thing. And again, I want to dig deeper into people that were Disney cruisers first. I would love to see what that transition into non-Disney cruising is. But the reality is, if you're used to paying what you pay for Disney for a regular cruise, you really could move to another cruise line and really be in a different kind of level when it comes to your cabin and service level. So that's interesting. Good answer. Daniel says, what do we think about repealing the Jones Act so that we can sail between San Francisco and LA, opposing to fly? You're going to have to deal with the Passenger Vessel Services Act. Jones Act, basically, if you want to think of it like this, it deals with cargo, and the passenger vessel deals with people. But yeah, look, I've read way too many articles about the economics of both of those acts, and there's still some people that believe that these things need to be in place to prevent foreign companies from coming in and undercutting their services. So think of it, if there's a shuttle running from Fort Myers to Key West, Florida, which I think that's the route, or down to Miami, something like that, that's an American-owned business. And all of a sudden, if you do away with the Passenger Vessel Services Act, could that business be damaged by a foreign company doing that? So some people that are really protectionist with the economics are still pro Jones and passenger vessel, but it definitely messes up cruising. So I like the idea of getting exemptions for cruising for those kind of things, because I think it would make sense for us to be able to do cruises to nowhere, since U.S. companies aren't building U.S. cruise ships and there's not U.S. flagged cruise ships except for river cruising. That's a little long, nerdy answer, but I do think that that's the only benefit that you get is helping cruising, and I'm all for anything that would help cruising. That's a long answer. But anything to add to that, Don, would go on the next question.
Yeah, during normal times, I mean, the Passenger Vessel Service Act doesn't affect your cruise whatsoever in normal times.
Right.
You know, there was no problem heading to Alaska at any time before the country shut down. And how often does that happen in history? Not very
Exactly.
often. So I think once this pandemic's over, there's not going to be any talk of this anymore. It's going to be clear sailing, and it's going to run as normal. Not only because, say, for instance, Canada, let's take it, you could bypass Canada, sure, no problem. But that's two ports that the cruise lines have to put passengers on, where they're not overcrowding Alaska every day. Because there's a lot of ships that go to Alaska. And they're talking about, hey, maybe we should restrict how many people come into Juneau and how many people come. You start doing that, you're going to see more Canada ports open up on the stop than you're going to see in Alaska. So, yeah, normal times, this wouldn't even be a question anymore. As long as Canada doesn't goof up like they did. And I the first one to admit, Canada was ridiculous during the pandemic when it comes to cruise ships, because they came out in January and said, we're banning ships for 13 months in January. Like they could forecast what was going to happen in the world in 13 months. It was just ridiculous. And I'm the first one to admit, as a Canadian, yeah, we were ridiculous.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, we've talked on and off about what we feel about 2022, and it's going to be interesting to see how some of these places that have shut down, our friends in Australia, really no light at the end of the tunnel right now. Again, Hawaii is supposed to open up, really uncertain if that's going to happen. So there's still a lot of unknowns as we move into 2022, and it'll be satisfying the first time that you get a cruise that goes up the east coast of Canada, where people are able to stop for those cruises, and then when we get those first Alaska cruises. So it's going to be good to see that happening. The question, how did Don and I meet? How do we become friends? So Don helped me out. He did me a solid. So when we were a small YouTube channel, YouTube changed their rules. And so we'd been grinding away. We started YouTube in April of 2017. Jenny and I started YouTube in April of 2017. We're coming in on 5 years. And by the time we got to February of 2018, we'd been crushing that YouTube business so hard that we figured out how to make $30 a month. And so, we've been working our regular 9-to-5 jobs. We've been working 5 or 6 hours a night on YouTube, just trying to build a YouTube community and really trying to figure out how to do YouTube. And we were to the point where we were making about $30 a month. And we'd met the requirements to be a partner with YouTube. We'd had, well over 10,000 views. And they changed the rules that said, look, if you want to keep getting your $3 a day, you're going to have 1,000 subscribers, and you're going to have 240,000 minutes watched. And we had the watch time, but we only had 689 subscribers, I think it was at that time. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get any more subscribers. I'd asked every time when I made a video for people to subscribe. And so I've been watching Don ever since we've been making videos. We started about the same time. And I said, well, look at this nice fella here in Canada. Let me just send an email to Don and say, look, you don't know me, There's no reason for you to help me, but I had a sense that Don was a nice guy, and I said, look, I'm about to get demonetized. If possible, could you just give us a shout out? Then there was no good reason for him to say yes, and Don said yes, and we made our 1,000 subscribers, and we were able to make our $30 a month. And then that was February of 2018. And then I think was it 2019 when you met us on the seaside, or was it still 2018? Had to be 2019.
It had to be 20 because
Yeah.
it was your anniversary, right? So
Yep. So then about a year later, and we corresponded. We started conversing, talking about YouTube, becoming friends along the way, and looking out for each other in that YouTube game a little bit. But then we finally met each other in February of 2019. Don surprised Jenny and I on the MSCC side. We spent a week together. We formed our friendship a little, beyond virtually, and then we made the plan to go to Asia. And, we stayed in touch throughout that year. We went to Asia in 2019. We all cruised again together for our anniversary in, February of 2020. And the rest is kind of history. But, yeah, it's, sometimes life gives you good gifts. And I feel like life's certainly given Jenny and I a good gift in you, Don. So appreciate the fact that we were able to meet and you be such a nice guy.
well, right back at you. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think you were a good guy.
Oh, that's right. Well, of course I'm a good guy. Come on, no, I'm just kidding. Come on, come on.
What?
But that's the story.
Virtual
That's the
hug.
story.
Virtual
I
hug.
begged Don to be my friend. How about that? Let's see. More questions. Is it hard to get a price drop? Oh, the whole thing just dropped. Is it hard to get a price drop on NCL? I'm sorry, I lost that question. The whole thing jumped on me. Redneck Lover 22, thank you so much for the super chat. My best friend and I decided to cancel our cruise on the Carnival Valor in early February due to Omicron, but made the best of it. He's joining me on the group cruise in October in an ocean suite. How about that? Come on out. Halloween. Sounds good. Yeah, again, if you got any hesitancy about cruising right now, don't do it, and if you can do it without losing your money, that kind of stuff, it's going to be different down the road. So thank you so much for the super chat.
Super chat.
Let's see. Question. Thoughts on the Bahamas Paradise Margaritaville collaboration? Will it save the cruise line or be another Big Red Boat premium Disney deal? What do you think about this move by Bahamas Paradise to rebrand and getting an influx of money from Margaritaville Resorts?
I think it was something they needed to do. Because right now, going down from 2 ships to 1, and then all the controversy that had happened with their crew complaining that they weren't being paid during the pandemic, and there was a lot of stuff going on. This was a really good opportunity for them to rebrand, come out with a popular resort. Everyone knows Margaritaville, and it's a fun event, right? So when you say Margaritaville, it just sounds, hey, that's going to be fun. And especially if you're, college students and that want to get away for a 3 and 4 day cruise, this might be right up their alley. I think this is probably a really good move for them.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it can't hurt, right? Like you had to be very motivated to go on Bahamas Paradise, like just on its own, like 2 days down to Freeport on an old ship. But at least I think now it's like I know a lot of people that as soon as that announcement came out, they're like, we got to go on that cruise ship. So it's starting to do what it's intended to do. It'll be interesting to see if they deliver on a good cruising experience. Cruising for Old Farts, great name. Ask a question. How do you find the best prices for your cruises? What are some price finding tips?
Research, and don't just search the biggest and best. Search the smaller ships. You just if you watch my videos, you saw I got two Royal Suites. Well, the Royal Suite price was the price of my balcony cabin on another cruise. So you can find the deals out there, and those I paid regular price. That's not travel agents. That's regular prices. So if you search, you can usually find stuff. Keep away from big holidays, New Year's and Christmas. Spring break. Keep away from those, and that's when you're going to find the better deals. But if you're looking at an Oasis class ship, the Wonder of the Seas prices are here. The Allure of the Seas prices are here.
Yeah.
Search it out. That's how you find the good deals.
The other thing I would do is that I would recommend is don't just look at the cabin price as your the thing to go by. Some of the cruise lines are really good at publishing a cheap cabin price, but then everything else costs money. So you have to get a drink
Yeah.
package if you want any kind of food. So I always advocate looking at the total cost of cruising. So if you know you're going to get a drink package or you know you're going to do a certain amount of excursions, try to add all that into the base price. And sometimes a line that may seem more expensive, premium line that may seem more expensive that has a lot of stuff included in it will actually be less expensive than a kind of a discounted line where you have to add all that stuff in. So total cost of cruising is something to keep in mind when you're trying to find good pricing for cruising, in my opinion. Let's see. Lido, Loca having a group cruise on NCL in March 2023. Yeah, I might have said we don't have anything in 2023. We do have a group cruise on the Prima that's not on our website, and I'm not sure when that is, but I'm assuming it's 2023. I don't think it's coming out in 2022. So Prima might be there also. Question, why choose refundable deposit rather than standard deposit if you do not intend to cancel? It adds so much more to the cost. That's a good question, Chuck. I would say the reason that you might want to choose a refundable deposit is 2020 and 2021. You just never know what's going to happen, right? Like if you booked a bunch of cruises with non-refundable deposits before 2020, then you were just stuck riding the roller coaster of 2020 and 2021. Why do you like to pay more for refundable deposits, Don?
Well, it's a little bit of peace of mind, right? As well, especially when you book cruises 2 years in advance.
Yeah.
I book cruises and my plans change. You know what? I want to go to the Med instead of going to the Caribbean that month. So just it's a simple cancellation. I get my money back. I go someplace else. No penalties, no nothing. Yes, you pay a little bit more, but here's a secret, everybody. If you book with a refundable deposit and it costs more, and then you realize you're going to go, you can cancel it and rebook as a non-refundable deposit and get that price again. Because you get your money back. So it's really a no-risk thing. You can drop your price sometimes $200, $300, $400 because the price hasn't changed, and they'll do that for you. Just do it before final payment.
Yep, that's a good call out for sure. Cheryl Coffin asked a question that I never even considered ever. Thank you for the super chat, Cheryl. Do either of you know if an accommodation are made if you are quarantined for COVID on a ship and you are a smoker? I would love somebody to. I don't have the answer to this question. So you're smoking, and look, if you're a smoker, that means you got a little bit of addiction to nicotine. That's why you're smoking. Could you imagine if all of a sudden you're quarantined? Of course, you're quarantined with a respiratory disease, so I don't know that you should be smoking. But while you're in quarantine, but I wonder if they'll let you out somewhere to go smoking. I'd be surprised. Have you heard of anything like that, Don?
Well, I was about to say a lot of the cabins are balcony cabins, but they're still not going to want you to smoke. So,
right.
No, I don't think they're going to make any accommodation. Oh, sorry, got a cough going on. I don't think they're making any accommodations for smokers. If you get quarantined, there are strict regulations they have to follow, and one of them is not moving you around from location to location,
right.
and smoking to the government and everything does not count as a must-do situation for somebody.
Interesting. So Cheryl, it is an interesting question. I'll try to mention that on one of the shows and see if we can find a commenter that maybe have been quarantined and that's a smoker. Because like I know smokers in my life. My mom was a longtime smoker and she would have to smoke. I've never been a smoker, so I don't know what that nicotine addiction's like. But it would be hard. Like my mom would have to smoke. Like she would be not feeling well if she didn't get to smoke. So I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Terry, with the thing, maybe they give you nicotine patches or something like that. Wild. Let's see. What do I do if a travel agency books me with a non-refundable cruise? They should be telling you what you're getting, right? Like that's that kind of thing.
You can request. Now, when you call in to say for Royal Caribbean, they automatically give you a non-refundable deposit booking because it is the lower price. but you can ask for the refundable deposit.
Joyce
And
Gardner, question.
if your agent books you that and you see it's non-refundable, say, yeah, can you please switch me to a refundable deposit, please?
There you go. Is there still no smoking in the casino? I haven't heard of any change. So what did we see? We saw Carnival go non-smoking in the casino. We saw Royal go
Caribbean.
non-smoking in the casino. I do believe that's all about the mask. And some people say, well, what about people drinking in the casino? Definitely with the smoking. Of course, you're also blowing stuff out into the air. So if you get the Omicron, I don't know. Well, I'm not a scientist, but I assume a lot of that has to do with wanting to keep the mask on your face.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, if you think about it, a person who's smoking will tend to hold a cigarette and play, right? A lot longer than the person who can. You're not pulling your mask down to take a drag and that. You're holding. That's what they're trying to avoid. But speaking of that, have you noticed that Celebrity is still the only cruise line that's still maskless?
Still maskless. Again,
They still
to me,
haven't changed yet.
at the end of the day, and I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, Norwegian had trouble because they were maskless." At the end of the day, they're looking at numbers, and so if whatever protocol set they have in place doesn't equal numbers that are concerning, then they're okay with those protocols. That's what I truly believe. And so we've seen cruise lines that have a masking protocol that have cases. We've seen them without the mask have cases, and so it's really whatever that protocol set is that they're happy about. And I tell you what, I believe a selling point is being maskless. So I don't know. Michelle Skegg says, I thought Jenny was a smoker. Jenny is a smoker, but she's not a smoker that, like, Jenny could go for days or a week and it wouldn't bother her. So I don't think she has that same addiction like that my mom does. So that's why I was thinking more of my mom than Jenny. Jenny would be fine. Like I've seen her stop smoking for weeks at a time. So I think a lot of it for her is social, that kind of thing. But my mom would definitely have trouble with that. In the past, my mom's quit smoking too. Like I think she vapes now. I don't think she has the same thing, but that was just an example that came to mind. Let's see. We haven't done the Greek islands. I haven't done the Greek islands. Don's been to Greece, but definitely going over the summer. 8 o'clock. We did it, Don. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I'm not going to keep Don any longer. But a nice 2 hours of cruise news question and answer. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do all the things. Please hit the like button to show support for the show. Make sure you go over to Don's channel, subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. I don't know anybody more consistent than Don putting out daily content. I even have to take a day off every once in a while. Not Don. He's a machine. And so go show Don some love on his channel. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Watch, I'll miss tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you need to miss. So I missed yesterday. All right. We will be back talking cruise news tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for all the great questions. Thank you for the super chats, and we appreciate you. My name's Tony. That's Don. I'm Lido Loca. He's Don's family vacation. What do you want him to do?
I want them to have a fantastic day.
Don wants you to have a fantastic day, and I want to see everybody on the Lido tomorrow. We'll be on a cruise ship. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and until the next time, we will see you on the Lido. Maybe if I get
Bye, everybody, and hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy Boxing Day. We'll see you in 2022 or tomorrow. One or the other.
Yeah, tomorrow. Don't wait till 2022.